Hello and welcome to Designer Market Broadcast. Today is Monday, March 3rd, 2025. Okay, so today's going to be a little bit different in the sense that we're going to be trying some new slides. The data on some of these slides is actually from the market close of last week. That's not to say that these broadcasts are going to be looking that far back in the rearview mirror, but I do think it's useful to at least get a starting point for the month of March by looking at where we ended the month of February. Okay, so let's start with the price of Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's at about $87,336 per coin. Now, I'm not going to address the wild swings that took place this weekend. That is a story unto itself. The network hash rate's at about 806, and hash prices are still at a somewhat anemic, roughly 5.5 cents or so. Okay, back to me now, please. Okay, so let's zoom in a moment on Bitfarms. Okay, we're going to start with Bitfarms, then we're going to kind of zoom out a bit and take a look at some of the other major players in the Bitcoin mining ecosystem, right? At least in the publicly traded Bitcoin mining ecosystem. So first and foremost, let's go and pull up this slide, please. So Bitfarms actually came out with data today with regard to their mining operations. So when we take a look at this, we see that the total amount of Bitcoin earned in February 2025 was 213 Bitcoin. The month-end operating exahash was about 16.1, so that I think is up about 6%. The number of the BTC average per exahash is about 16. The average operating exahash, 13.4. So that tells me that there may be some room for improvement insofar as, hey, we've got 16.1 exahash of Bitcoin mining capacity out there, but it seems as though we're only operating with about roughly on average 13.4 exahash. So again, a bit of a gap there. Energized capacity in megawatts, 437. Hydropower megawatts, that's up, of course, in, I believe, mostly Quebec, 256. The overall fleet efficiency, this is a really big number, 20 watts per terahash. And then finally, the number of BTC sold as part of its, meaning Bitfarms is, month to month, back to me now, please, part of their treasury management strategy. They sold about 75 Bitcoin for, I think, a little over $6 million in proceeds. And if I'm not mistaken, Bitfarms now has over 1,200 Bitcoin in their treasury. I think that's going to be really important going forward. Here's why. I don't see hash prices improving dramatically. Now, then again, we haven't necessarily seen the price of Bitcoin improve dramatically, right? Yes, we had this big boost over the weekend based on a Truth Social post. Bitcoin is back down to kind of where it was before that post, more or less. I am so incredibly grateful that Bitfarms has not just one way to win, but two ways to win. So the first way to win, of course, is if in fact we do have a Bitcoin bull run here in 2025 that not only sends the price of Bitcoin to the proverbial moon, but that hopefully, ideally, will send hash prices dramatically higher as well. The second way in which Bitfarms, I believe, has a way to win is if we really start to gain some traction as a company, right? If Bitfarms really starts to make some announcements as it relates to its HPC, high performance computing / AI side of the business, right? Being able to bring in some energy partners or energy usage partners for some of their sites, specifically here in the PJM region, for be it Sharon, be it for Scrubgrass, be it for Panther Creek, and to be able to have some really meaningful revenue as a result of that. It's not lost upon me that Core Scientific, they had their earnings conference call not that long ago, and I did not hear the whole thing, but the portions of it that I did hear, it sounded really impressive in terms of what they're doing on the HPC AI front, for lack of a more specific way to describe it. Their Bitcoin operations, maybe not that exciting, but hey, they've got this line of business that really seems poised to deliver some very reliable, useful revenue. And I think in the case of Bitfarms, that's going to be crucial. Now, I want to point out that at the very end of last month, in February, shareholders, Stronghold Digital Mining shareholders voted overwhelmingly. I think it was like 97+% voted in favor of moving forward with the Bitfarms acquisition of Stronghold Digital Mining. That's a really big deal. If you'll indulge me a split second, I do want to see if I could pull up the news release because I thought it was very, very useful. I'm going to go ahead and read directly from what Greg had to say about this. We are thrilled by the strong endorsement from our stockholders who recognize the significant value and potential of this merger and look forward to the next chapter for our stockholders as part of Bitfarms. And it's that last part that really kind of resonated with me because I've been on the Stronghold Digital Mining shareholder journey for quite some time, at least certainly starting in June of 2022. Pretty much up until the announcement of the merger, hit the wires back in August of last year, at which point I did take a lot of chips off the table, as I've said before. But, there's a part of me that feels a very strong continued sense of loyalty to Stronghold Digital Mining shareholders. And I love the fact that this deal, it wasn't just for cash. It was rather, hey, it's going to be a stock transaction. That means Stronghold Digital Mining shareholders have the opportunity to potentially see the value of their holdings increase over time as part of Bitfarms. And then that kind of brings us to Bitfarms itself. Okay, let's see if we can pull up this final slide here. Okay, so this is the Bitfarms, closing price as of, February 28th, 2025. To me, right, hey, this is a highly, highly oversold stock that's kind of trying to turn the corner. And again, remember, this is Friday's close. This has nothing to today, it has nothing to do with today's market action, which is still ongoing. It's still the middle of the afternoon. But, when I look at the stock chart and I say to myself, okay, for, back to me now, please, for Stronghold Digital Mining shareholders, as well as for Bitfarms shareholders to really do well, we can't have a stock that's trading at a friggin' buck something a share, right? Over the past 60 days or so, the highest, price that Bitfarms has achieved is about $2.29. I think we can all agree we really want to see the stock price do a lot better. Now, you may be saying to yourself, well, wait a minute, bro, if you sold off, your Stronghold shares, you don't really have a stake in the game. Like, why do you even care? Well, bear in mind, I do care because I still live in Pennsylvania. I am still the recipient of the benefits that, take place as a result of the mine waste to energy facilities in Scrubgrass and at, Panther Creek continuing to operate. And I have never ruled out getting back involved by buying a bunch of shares of Bitfarms. I haven't ruled that out. I really haven't, but this is kind of a situation where, man, look, dude, I've been living this for so long that I just viscerally feel, I think we all agree we want to see the price of Bitfarms, the stock price, do tremendously better than what it's doing. Now, it's not just Bitfarms. I have a whole bunch of other slides I can show you of CleanSpark, of Riot, of Wolf, TerraWolf, of, Mara, of Iron, right? It's not just Bitfarms that has been really in a downtrend lately. It's all of the major bellwether companies in the publicly traded Bitcoin mining ecosystem. Why is that, you may ask? Well, again, I point to the fact that the price of Bitcoin itself has retreated from about $110,000 a share, not a share, but per coin that it reached, I think, in November of last year. We've kind of been in a downtrend as it relates to Bitcoin. Hash prices have not really been that great. So, you run into a situation where if you are ultimately a Bitcoin mining company and your core revenue input is hash prices, and hash prices remain anemic, and the price of Bitcoin remains anemic, and you have sentiment in the entire industry that remains kind of anemic, it makes it tough for there to be some substantial appreciation in the price of Bitcoin. That being said, I do remain optimistic that we may very well see the long-awaited bull run right here in 2025 that maybe takes us up to 150,000 a coin, maybe to 180,000 a coin, maybe all the way up to even $200,000 a coin or beyond. But we got to keep ourselves rooted in the reality that if that does not happen, we're probably not going to see shares of Bitfarms do very well unless, and this is the really big unless we really hit it out of the park with an HPC AI deal that's just going to completely re-rate the stock. And suddenly we go from just another Bitcoin mining company trying to buy newer Bitcoin mining machines that are more efficient to hopefully, generate more Bitcoin mining revenue, hoping that hash prices do what they're going to do, and just kind of being on that hamster wheel of, okay, well, look at now this bull cycle's over. Now we're heading for a crypto winter. I hope we survive the crypto winter and we're able to replenish our Bitcoin mining fleet to be able to participate, hopefully, in the next Bitcoin bull run, right? See what I mean? Like, it would be amazing for this company, right, to be able to kind of like step out of that a bit, right? Still have exposure to Bitcoin, because look at it, Bitcoin really pumps and hey, it really goes to the moon. We want to have our foot in that door, so to speak, right? You don't want to just shut the door on Bitcoin mining entirely. But I think it's really useful. And I hope you'd agree with me that it's really useful to have a plan B, so to speak. And by plan B, I don't just mean a Bitcoin treasury strategy, as Bitfarms already does have, but a plan B in the sense of like, how else do we generate revenue if Bitcoin mining economics aren't going to really participate? Okay, let's end with a positive, uplifting quote of sorts. Let's pull this up. When something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor. And that quote is attributable to Mr. Elon Musk, who of course has been in the news quite a bit lately. Okay, my friend, let's stay positive, let's be great, and we will most certainly see each other again more and more this week as I get some of this back-end technology up and running and I'm able to put out what I am hopeful will be a much higher quality, much more informative broadcast going forward. Okay, I'll see you then.